PTSD brought a new struggle into my life that I totally was not prepared to handle.
It's made it very difficult to be a part of the normal society.
A lot of times I would be having a panic attack in meetings, and I got very good at hiding it.
During the era that I came through, it was actually a thing that a lot of servicemen didn't talk about and didn't believe that they had.
It might be easier to tell how it hasn't affected my life.
Didn't even know who I was. I never left the house, didn't interact with my family, my friends.
My life was basically being a prisoner in my own home.
And I just felt more like just a walking body, just not being present. There was attempted suicide involved multiple times.
I don't see it as affecting my life as much as it affected my family's life.
My son sat down next to me and he put his leg next to me, and I got upset and angry.
And it's got me breaking the one rule I have, which is never yell at my kids.
And really there's no words to really describe it. It's evil.
So Jasper has been an absolute light to my life. And because of Jasper, I now have my partner next to me, by my side, always watching my six.
These last few weeks, when I found myself getting overwhelmed, all of a sudden I have my new battle buddy coming to me. Me not asking for it, not looking for it, but she knew I needed it.
I can't imagine my life without Alpha, my battle buddy.
The second I wake up, he's right there. The second my head goes up, his head's up, and he's either licking my face or just nuzzling me, trying to figure out what's going on.
The second I walked into the play yard and saw him, it felt different. And I walked up to him, I knelt down, and he immediately started kissing me. It gave me hope, and moving forward, I knew I would be okay.
I've never been any happier in the last probably 10 years than I am right now with George.
If I had to pick my service dog, I probably would have not picked the crazy, goofy golden retriever. He makes me smile and laugh.
K9s for Warriors knew exactly who I needed, and y'all knew who she needed as well. So to me, it was just like a match made in heaven.
As corny as it sounds, Hope has given me hope for the future. Somebody that has my back no matter what, and that unconditional love.
For the next 1,000 that have applied and are waiting, be patient. It is worth the wait.
So I've learned that they have a saying here. It's called trust the process.
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Trust the process.
Trust in the process.
I know we're supposed to be tough and rise above. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. You just have to take the first step, come out of your shell a little bit and say, raise your hand and say, hey, I need a little bit of help here.
For the people who have non-combat PTSD, you're not alone. Don't think because you are non-combat that you can't get help or you can't get a dog.
And I can tell you for a fact that 100% this dog does make a difference for you.
You will sleep better, I promise, because I do.
Don't let yourself get discouraged. Don't count yourself out because you deserve happiness.
Open your heart, because, oh my gosh, these babies are amazing.
The amount of tears I've hidden from the world because I'm just all the happiness I've actually been able to find and have here. When you can force a vet to cry and make him hide, you've done something right. That's all I can say.
Your compassion and your love has reached out to me personally, has reached out to my family, has reached out to those that are around me, and they all see it, and I can feel it, and Jasper can feel it, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for this opportunity that I have with Jasper. If it was not for you, this would not be possible.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah,
Welcome everyone to our ITNation Gives live stream series. So I'm Adam Polanski, and I'm honored here with Sean Lardo. We have some canine warriors in the background as well coming on here shortly. So Sean, I don't have the deck for this, so it's going to be fun. It hasn't downloaded yet.
Perfect. That's great. That's okay. How about I'll just talk about everything that's taking place, and I'll just run the whole thing. Maybe you should ask me some questions.
I probably should. So Sean, there's a lot coming up in the next couple of weeks. K9 has been part of ITNation Gives now the past year, so it's awesome to see that. And so, what can we expect in this next couple of weeks?
So again, and actually, by the way, I'm gonna even share it for you. How about that? I'm gonna go above and beyond here, and I'm gonna share my screen.
Do that.
There you go. Can you? I'm assuming you can see that as long as you guys share. There it goes. So you ready? Let me hide that, and we're ready. So yeah, this is the second year in the running to work with K9s for Warriors. Owe it all to Andrea Burrow for she's the one that founded this relationship to bring it to us, and it's great because it's such an easy thing to talk about. And with the K9s for Warriors, second year in the run of doing this, what it's all about, for us, it's a way for ConnectWise, ITNation, the community to give back to anything charitable for one, but more importantly to this organization. What I love about this organization, I'm an animal lover. Actually, today's my dog's 1 year, literally first birthday. So it's perfect. I know, right? Eleanor is 1 year old. She's like a mad woman, but it is a way for us to support a program where they start with saying, first they save the dog, then they save the warrior, which is, I love that line. And it gives us a chance to support a program that's all about helping veterans with post-traumatic stress. Everybody watched the video, so I don't have to go deep into detail on that. But anybody watching right now, the link is on the bottom of the screen here where you can donate. We're looking for donations now. Today we are going to have on Stephen Carmichael. He's our main contact there. He's kind of the man. He as well dressed as he is in his picture, is as well as he dresses every time I see him. So this isn't even like a headshot, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like when it comes to it, it's important that we understand that that these guys, their mission is to support all these veterans and the dogs. So I can't get in details. I'll let them talk about it. I sound like a fool otherwise. In the meantime, let's talk about what we have going on here. Like you said, we are having tons of things at ITNation happening coming up. We have them there every day. So anybody that comes to ITNation Connect will see the warriors with their canines each day at the event. So, and yes, you can go talk to them. And yes, you're allowed to even go pet them as long as you ask the warrior if they can pet them. They are not that one thing I hate is when you see those dogs that say they're service dogs, but they say you can't pet them. That makes zero sense to me. So you can, they will let you as long as you ask for permission. On Wednesday, we're going to do dog treat making 1 to 2:30, and that 2:30 is right when it ends for the open bar for pitch it. So please go from one to the other. The 5K run, anybody that gets involved at $25 per runner for fee, that all goes to the actual K9s for Warriors Foundation. The puppy day and dog demonstrations on Friday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They will all be around the floor in general, so you'll see them. It'll all be advertised. There'll be signage everywhere. And then the Warrior speaking session, 12:15. I mean, if you watched the video just now, they have a lot of great stories to talk about. I would totally, you'll probably cry. Andrea usually cries. Jess King usually cries. I don't cry in public, but in private, yes. But the stories are great, so we do encourage you guys to pay attention to it and engage. That is it for right now on that. And I don't see you, Adam, anymore. So I don't know if you're still here or not.
I am definitely still here.
You're like changing locations. This is amazing.
Well, I got to get, I got a property to run around here. So, there's a lot going on. This is an awesome organization. Thrilled to be part of this donation, this drive. There's actually a link down there for registration for ITNation Connect if you're not registered. And there's also a promotion code, CWBOSS50, to get $250 off your registration. And in fact, I think what needs to happen is when you $250 off, I think the $250 should go to K9 for Warriors. do a donation. You know, it's going to help a lot of different warriors and a lot of animals, because it's saving lives, both the animal and the warrior. So with that, Sean, let's go ahead and bring on our guests and start off with Steven here.
Yeah, let's start with Steven. Hey, what's up, Steven?
Why am I the main guy here? I don't want to be
I don't
that.
know. Yeah, please stop that. Steven,
yeah.
Steven, you have no audio now. You went from some to none, but you look
now
good.
I do.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
There you go.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Hey guys.
What's up, dude?
Nothing. I just got back from Nashville and I'm ready to kick this call off. I think we had David Burt originally scheduled, but we have a special guest to show up in a little bit later. So
absolutely. Yep. So in Nashville. Oh yeah, golf, not golfing. Okay.
Golfing, Sean?
Yes.
No, I was at a golf tournament and I had to make sure Sean knows I was not golfing. I was there.
Look at Adam.
Talking about K9s.
While Adam just walks around the neighborhood while he talks to us. This is amazing.
You know, I had to get full because I enjoy the outside and it's beautiful weather out here. You know, this is just connecting myself to nature, grounds me a little bit. And so, you know, Sean.
Oh God. Okay, so Steven, back to you. So let's talk, Steven. You're our point of contact for this, but what is your actual responsibilities there at K9s?
So I'm the director of corporate partners. So my team and I work with a bunch of different corporate partners to make sure that our program that we offer here at K9s is absolutely at no cost to the veteran. So when our veterans show up, they have no money out of pocket for our 3-week residential program. And then we even help them before and after our program as well. So if something was to come up and they needed something, we're here to make sure we can give that to them. We rely on, obviously, amazing corporations like ITNation Connect and everybody that gives through your campaign, and then other non-veteran service organizations that can help assist as well.
So how long have you been doing this for?
Over 2.5 years. So I left teaching after 10 years, teaching 5th grade monsters. And now I get to work with amazing trainers that train these really spectacular dogs, and these amazing, our warrior operations team that pairs these dogs with these veterans. And then my favorite part is I get to connect the donors like yourselves to the dogs and the veterans. So like when I was not golfing the other day, I actually brought one of our warriors, Thomas, and his service dog, Titan, so he can meet the people that actually sponsored his dog. So that's like the highlight of my job, is getting to make those connections.
That's awesome.
Obviously working with you, Sean, is probably the best part of my job. So
you know what? Truer words have never been spoken. So
that's right.
And how much does it cost to sponsor a dog? Is what, $25,000, right?
Yeah, so you can sponsor a dog. We actually just increased that, but you can sponsor a dog between $25,000 and $30,000, and that covers majority of the cost of the training of the dog, and that gives anybody who gives us that lump of cash the right to name the dog as well. So that's what my job I get to do, is help connect those named dogs with the donors that name them.
That's good. So everybody watching, we're trying to get to that amount so that we can name the dog Chandria. That's Sean and Andrea mixed together. So those
love that name,
right? Come here, Chandria. Come here, Chandria. I mean, that's amazing, right?
There we go.
That's what we're going for. I would love it, and I'll come to any event that Chandria is at.
I can't wait. Okay, guys, that's a challenge. Please help us get a dog named Chandria. Please help them get this dog.
That would be incredible. So Steven, how long has K9 Warriors been around?
So we were founded in 2011 by the late Sherry Duvall. She was a mom who saw her son struggling, and she saw that when he was with his dog, he was back to himself. So her son, who helped her start this organization, just happened to be a K9 trainer. So they created this amazing program in her backyard. And over the last 13 years, we have grown it to where we're rescuing and training 4 dogs at a time So now between 2 states, we're able to rescue in about 150 plus dogs, and we can pair up to 20 warriors a month with their service dog.
Wow.
A lot
And
has
so
changed in that 13 years.
How many total dogs have you rescued, and how many veterans have you helped out?
We're nearly 2,000 dogs rescued. We can talk a little bit. Not every dog makes it to become a service dog, but we just celebrated March of this year. We paired our 1,000th graduate with his service dog. And as of last month, we were at 1,077. Huge accomplishment for us. Yes.
Huge. Okay, and so what I'd like to do, Sean, any more questions for Stephen before I bring on our guest?
No, keep Stephen with us so we can ask him other questions. And
go for it.
See, just keep him on. He can. And actually, Stephen, would you like to introduce our other guest since you're so?
Oh, I totally would. I cannot wait. So our next guest is not only a friend of mine. We butt heads sometimes, but our next guest is actually one of our graduates of our programs. But before he was a graduate of our program, he was an employee here. So I am very happy to introduce, once a Marine, always a Marine, Mr. Michael Drafts. He is our Director of Warrior Training and Education, and his service dog is Garrett, aka Lil G. And I am honored to bring him on today because Mike is just, a plethora of information about our program, but one thing, he's going to be read when he comes on. Mike has helped adapt our training, our warrior training program so substantially just in the last 2.5 years. So we ensure 2 things, that bond is stronger than ever, and that these warriors are getting the best experience while they're here for that 3 weeks. So when they do get home with their service dog, but there's nothing new to what they've gone through. So they have gone through it here. So when they get home, they're not experiencing anything new. So let's bring Mike on.
Awesome. Let's do that. Mike is on.
Yeah, there he is.
How you doing, Mike? And Garrett is there.
You know, and Mike looks like he should be a character on a show. Literally, he has the look of it, doesn't he? Exactly. Well, not that look. That's scary look. I don't understand what that is. Please stop that face right now. And it's not your fault. You're always a Marine, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Some people have to meet standards.
Yeah. So before we go down the path and understanding your journey a little bit with K9, can you tell us a little bit about your background and in the military and what your service has meant to you?
Yeah, so I graduated. I'm really old, believe it or not. I graduated high school back in 1994, and then 1 week later, I was in boot camp. So I went to boot camp and earned my Eagle Globe and Anchor to be a Marine. And the first place I went to was Okinawa, Japan. I'm from a little redneck small town in South Carolina. So hopping on a plane for the first time and going 42 hours on a military flight was pretty traumatic to start with. I'm not going to say that's where my PTSD came from, but it was probably a good start. So I spent my first 4 years basically deployed. I was in the infantry. I was a 0352 in the Marine Corps, which was a tow gunner. I shot missiles at tanks, and I cross-trained as a 0331, which is a machine gunner. And our primary mission was to take out anti-armor and do convoy protection ops. So did a lot of those types of very forward evolutions in training while deployed. I did get my combat action ribbon in 1996. Back when we really weren't doing a whole lot of conflicts, and that was in Bosnia, Kosovo, Albania during that situation. And I re-enlisted and stayed in for another 4 years and left 1st Battalion, 8th Marines and went to Parris Island, South Carolina as a marksmanship instructor. I was a primary marksmanship instructor, so I got to teach every recruit that came through boot camp how to acquire a target and hopefully save their life. And then I also got to shoot competitively. I shot on the rifle and pistol team, which is probably one of the coolest things that anybody can say they ever did. Like, I literally shot guns for a living, and it was like the best thing ever. Spent a lot of time deployed. After September 11th, I got caught up in something called stop loss. So I was supposed to get out in October. And then September 11th happened, and they said, "Hey, Mike, we're going to need you to hang out for a little bit longer." So I decided to listen and hang out there for another year and a half before I left. So I ended up getting out in about 2005. So I did about 11 years, 9 months. I rounded up to 12 because that's just what I do. It was honestly the best time in my life. Probably I learned so much that's made me successful in my life through the military as far as organization. Let me tell you, the one thing about my specific trauma and PTSD has made me is I'm an operations guru. Like, I prepare for everything to fail because in my mind it's all going to fail. So I think I've tapped into my superpower of trauma to come up with backup plans for backup plans for backup plans. I always have a plan. John, you're right there with me.
Contingency for the contingency of the contingency. Yes.
Prior proper planning prevents poor performance, sir.
You would lose your shit in my world, because we work with all these tech engineers, and according to engineers, they're very linear, right? Which is fine, but they will tell you that it never fails. For me, my line to all the entrepreneurs is 100% of the plans fail 100% of the time, the first time, regardless. No matter, they're like, no, we make adjustments. That means your first plan failed. That's why you made the adjustment, because it failed, and that's perfectly acceptable. So yes, I, just like you, 94 graduate. I left about 3 months later for the Army, though.
Hoorah!
Hoorah's him.
Yeah, hoorah! You tell him hoorah. That's right.
And you're a civilian, so you sit there quietly and sit out in your wilderness. Just so we're clear, exactly. So yeah. You know, Mike, he's like, I'm out in the woods. I'm like you guys. It's like a deployment, isn't it? No, nothing like that. So no.
Okay, go easy on him, guys.
Steven, that's not going to happen, and we know this. So therefore, I know Mike has to be nice. There's no way. So I went through the same thing as you. I got to shoot guns for a living too. I was really good at it. I got to shoot like the Mark 9. I got to shoot all the 203s, all that. I trained people on it too, which was funny, because my first qualification I went to do, well, when I went to learn in basic, I couldn't shoot for shit. Like, whatever the I learned what my problem was eventually, but it was so bad the drill instructors were putting red tape X's like right here, moron. You see this right here. My grouping was good. My zeroing was off, so I kept shifting my head. That's what I learned later. Now, but once I learned that, they're like, I ended up qualifying expert the first time we did pop-ups and everything else. And when you're actually being awarded stuff, and they're like, where'd you learn to shoot? And I was like, duck hunt. Like, the game. I grew up in the city.
Tap the TV. The TV.
Yeah,
like,
I was good. Like, seriously, I grew up in the inner city. I didn't shoot rifles. I didn't hunt. I played duck hunt. I was dope.
So, Mike, thank you, Sean, for that commentary. That was really very colorful.
I'll be here all day.
So, for sure. I haven't started military, obviously, but, I grew up. My dad was a B-52 pilot for 20 years in the Air Force. And so, what was the transition like for you, Mike, after leaving the military? What were some of the challenges you faced, like going from the, military life to civilian life? It might not be so obvious to some of us.
Yeah, it's a huge, and when Sean and I came through back in the 90s, and so there wasn't a lot of help transitioning out. The internet was still new. Like, it was a thing. Like, when he and I were in high school, the internet had just came out. Like, we weren't even getting emails yet. So when I transitioned out, there was only the resources that you have is what they gave you. And it was really hard to kind of come up with a plan on what I wanted to do and how to do it and what to do. And in the military, you're always given a job, and that's your job, and you're the duty expert in that job, and you're the best at that job. And if you've ever been the best at something, you know what I mean. Like, there's nobody that can be better than you. You just know everything. And then you leave, and you lose that identity of who you are, because now you have to start over, and you don't know, you're not a duty expert anymore. And for me, it was hard because I was in infantry. I just ran around with guns, and I didn't really have what I felt were marketable skills. I wasn't in IT. I wasn't in communications. I wasn't in Intel. I wasn't in logistics. You know, I felt like I was a missing piece in a puzzle, and I just didn't know where to fit. The only time I've ever felt like I was doing something worth anything was being around other veterans and helping them achieve their goals. So I became a counselor an admissions counselor at colleges, and worked on helping people transition from the military into a new career. I eventually came to K9s for Warriors because if you really think about K9s for Warriors, it's a school. It's a formal school to teach you how to be a handler and a successful handler. So I brought that experience and resource here and helped design our curriculum and the way that we train almost in a military way. We do it, you know, hands-on. We do all the different things that we did in the military, and we approach it in a way to where it makes sense. It didn't matter what branch of the service that you were in, you could relate to it at some point. So, you know, the transition out of the military is hard for everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, because you're leaving basically everything you've ever known. You know, when I was growing up as a child and I graduated high school, 5 days later, I was in boot camp. So my parents told me what to do my entire life. I go to boot camp and then I go in the military. I've had someone to tell me what to do my entire life. And then I leave the military and I have no guidance. I have nothing. You know, I think a lot of people lose themselves because maybe they don't know what direction to do or where that focus is. And that's where I found myself. And what drew me to a lot of this was helping other people. So I think that was my ultimate way for me to find success. So I got here about 7 years ago. So really when the rubber kind of hit the road here is when I kind of started. And I found out that, you know, after about watching 500 people ahead of me get service dogs and finding happiness and seeing all the improvements that they've made in their life, that, gosh, what an idiot am I to sit back and watch all these people find success and me sit here and cheat myself from it because I don't think that I'm worthy of it. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Do you remember the last time I talked to y'all? Do you remember when that was?
Sean does, I'm sure. Because that's all he talked about last time I saw him.
Well, Mike and I have Steven, stop being jealous of Mike and mine's bromance.
He's always going to be jealous.
He's
a bitter man.
He is a bitter man. Like, really?
Okay, you get him for right now. I get him every other day.
We'll get into that later. Fine. Yes, I recall talking to you. It's almost a year ago.
Let me explain what's happened in this year, and Stephen Carmichael will probably get really googly-eyed. Since I've had my service dog, and I'm not saying the service dog has changed my life, but I'm going to tell you what my service dog has done for me. It's given me an opportunity to focus on me more instead of, I love me some me. And it's hard to say that sometimes. And, you know, if you don't love yourself, it's hard to love anybody else. And when you're always doubting what you do and you put all your problems ahead of everybody else's and you're always solving everybody else's stuff and not solving your own, that's no love for yourself. So I really took this last year and really focused on me and the journey that I've been on. And guys, let me tell you, that's been the most powerful 16 months of my life. I've lost 115 pounds.
Oh.
I work out an hour and a half every day. I box 10 rounds at 5:30 every morning. I do an hour of core workout every night. And it's just me using like meditation and just taking time for myself, using an outlet other than a service dog is great. And it's helped me understand that a service dog is a tool, but there's so many tools that you can use to get to where you're at. And it took this one tool to show me that I was so much capable of other things. And it opened up a door for me to be happy with myself. I weighed 283 pounds when I started. I'm down to about 170 right now. I'm down to about 13% body fat. Dude, I'm jacked. I'm just going to say it. I've got a 6-pack now. I could throw up a before and after. It would blow your mind.
Maybe we should put it on the next
commercial.
Maybe that should be the next video. Maybe that should be the next video. Why be on K9s? For weight loss. Fitness.
Right,
Your fitness journey starts at K9s for Warriors. I mean, dead serious. Like, my God. See, Stephen?
We have a calendar, we have a yearly calendar coming out of just Mike and his new 6-pack.
I'm every month.
So Mike, let's talk a little bit about that, those post struggles. If you don't mind getting kind of down to the weeds a little bit, you know, obviously many veterans struggle with that mental and emotional battles after the service. You know, what were some of the biggest challenges you encountered, and how did that impact your daily life?
And Sean might be able to relate to this a little bit more than me also, but what I found is I had to find a balance between mental anguish and physical pain. I'm 100% disabled. So I have a bad back, I have bad knees, I have bad elbows. I'm 100% disabled, guys. So, I mean, I didn't get that rating because I'm healthy. So I was always in a lot of pain, and therefore I didn't do anything physical. And because I wasn't doing anything physical, mentally, it was hurting me. So I started to do physical things, and mentally I was better, but physically I hurt more because I was doing more things. So I had to find that personal balance between where am I at physically and where am I at mentally. There's some days when I know that I'm going to go see Carmichael and have a meeting that I might work out an extra 30 minutes because I'm going to see him and I need to get that out of my system. Or there might be a day like today where I'm going to see Carmichael and I might say, you know what, I need to go home and work out another 30 minutes to get this out of my system. But really, honestly, in all sincerity, that's what it was to me. You have to acknowledge that there's something there. It's not, again, I have the privilege of sitting here and looking at 1,077 people go through this program. And I get to mark and watch their level of success. And I see their story every day. I have 4 ladies on campus right now that came here at the beginning of a hurricane, who have been here the entire time on lockdown, working with me, going through all kinds of schedule changes out the yin yang, and they're all going to graduate. They're going to graduate, and this is going to be great. And I've seen them like leaps and bounds find, you know, a piece of themselves that they've never had, which is great. I think that you have to. It's all about the balance, and I think acknowledging that you're not okay. And not saying that you need help, but saying that maybe you need to find a tool to help you find that balance. Whether it's meditation, whether it's counseling, whether it's a service dog, you know, all of those are answers to those questions.
I can totally relate to that, and you're dead on. The balance was key for me. And you said something which is spot on about, well, and every addict and every person that's ever had depression says the same thing about, you have to identify that you have a problem, right? Whatever that is, right? But the thing is, some people just say, I suck, and it becomes a depression factor. Instead of it being a motivator to find out why do you suck, to make the adjustments, because that's the next stage. Then the next piece to that is find out what really is the problem, because I feel that it falls in my control first, right? Ultimately, no matter what, because whatever you did or went through, it still falls back to you because you're stuck with yourself.
Yeah, you said something, and I use this word every single day, and Carmichael's probably going to laugh when he hears me say it. You said you feel like you suck. I tell every warrior here, I put the suck in successful. You have to change it. I fail every day because I try. I purposely will push myself to failure. I have failed 3 times today because I've done something that maybe I haven't done before. Put a report together that I didn't know how to do, and I failed. I sucked. But I'm trying to be successful. And understanding that failure is going to happen and it's okay to fail. It's just how you're going to reset your mind and find that balance. Sucking is life, man. You're going to suck. It's just put the suck in successful. You have to be successful, and you have to keep trying.
Isn't it the classic line of you have to embrace the suck? It's a classic line. And you don't understand what that means until you've actually lived it. And then
That's
you
exactly
understand
right.
it. Once you embrace, the first lesson I learned coming through was, this is just what it is. Get over it and figure out how you move on to be better. Whatever that means, doesn't matter. But if you keep on pouting and crying, then you're pouting and crying always. And speaking of pouting and crying, you know, going back to Stephen, just curious.
I knew that was coming.
That was such a good segue, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You did a great job on that one.
5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars right there.
Thank you. I'll be here all day. You know, you mentioned, Stephen, Mike being a good friend of yours. Like, how did this transpire? Because I'm assuming you met him through the program.
Oh, yeah. So Mike and I have obviously worked together for almost 3 years now. And really, I mean, I've learned a lot from Mike about K9s as a program, because on the administrative side, you don't get to see the firsthand experiences with Mike and or what Mike sees. But Mike has just become such a great friend because I can lean on him for anything I ever need. I'm going to tell the best story ever. It was last year. Well, when Mike was ready to get Garrett, he came over. He's like, "Hey, what dogs do you have coming up in class?" Because a lot of the dogs that I sponsor have to go and do big things. And I said, "Oh, I have these dogs." He's like, "Okay." And I was like, "Well, why?" He goes, "I don't want any of your dogs." And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, why is that?" He's like, "Because I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to talk about it, etc." And I was like, "Okay, no. Yeah. Well, you didn't get one of my dogs." So he got Garrett. Garrett's not one of my sponsored dogs, but one thing that Mike still did for me was whenever I needed him for something and to go somewhere, he was like, "Absolutely, I'll do it." So last Veterans Day, we needed a Marine to come to a Marine ball with me for dinner. It was just the dinner portion. And I was like, there's no veteran in the area we were going to. And Jess was like, "Well, what about Mike?" And I was like,
Mike was your date, is what you're telling me. Mike
I was like, "I don't know if Mike's ready." And he did. And we drove up the night. It's a 2 hours drive there, had dinner, and drove back. And
did he put his dress blues on? Did he put his dress blues on?
He did not. No.
I still look good.
Okay. That's okay, because they stole those from the British. That's why they have the red buttons, because they're thieves. It's just so we're clear. Yeah, I know, Mike, the whole history of it. Don't worry.
So Mike and I on that trip really bonded. But what really, what I knew Mike was like, when I knew our relationship hit a new level, I asked him to do this other event earlier this year. And I said, you know, it's just going to be quick. Just, you know, you could talk mostly about K9s. Well, he came in my office, and this is obviously during his, you know, he probably worked out 30 extra minutes that day. Now I know. He was like, "Hey, I got my story for today." And I was like, "No, you know, I'm no pressure. I'm not, you know, you don't have to share your story." And he sat in my office and shared his story. And I was crying because I was like, not from his story. He has a great story, but I was so emotional because I saw Mike go from, you know, the guy who didn't want to share his story, wasn't ready to share his story. And now he's the guy who is sitting on this call talking about, you know, all the things that he's gone through. So he's an inspiration. He comes in every day. He's like, "Okay, I've worked out for this many minutes today. This is how many calories I've burned." And I will be honest with you. I'm like, if this MFer can work out every morning at 5 a.m., I can do it. And I started working out at 5 a.m. every morning now. So,
oh boy,
yeah.
So Mike, he really is your date. That's amazing. He's like, he's following you. I love that. It's like a romance.
Yeah, pretty much. So
nice. Nice. So, just if those happen to join us right now, this K9 Warriors, we're here with Stephen and Mike. And so there's a link down below, scrolling across the bottom, if you guys could donate. This is a charity event for ITNation Gives, and coming up for the big event, ITNation Connect. And so continuing on with our story, so we heard how Stephen got to know you, Mike. So, Mike, how did you first hear about K9 Warriors, and kind of what made you decide to reach out for their support?
Yeah, so I was working in the education field as a veterans counselor, and the school that I was working at was the Art Institute, and they closed their campus here in Jacksonville. and I knew I wanted to work with other veterans and doing that in some capacity. So I applied to like any nonprofit veteran organization. And believe it or not, man, it is a hard niche to get in. There's so many veterans who want to do what we do and help other people. There are so many qualified people. Like, you know, I look at my resume and I wonder how the hell I'm even here based off some of the people that I read resumes for that apply for jobs that I underpay them for every day here. And it's incredible. Everybody's here for the mission. And to me, that's kind of what it all kind of goes to at that point, as far as, you know, I came here to just help other veterans, and I didn't really even know what that meant. I would have cleaned kennels. I would have picked up poop, and I have. I've picked up, during COVID, I worked in the kennels for 6 hours and did paperwork for 2 hours. I'm here for the mission to help other veterans, and wherever that takes me, whatever job capacity that puts me in, is where I'm supposed to be. And I think that in life, if you can just take yourself and your sense of ego and your sense of pride out of it and just focus on what needs to be done, the world is such an easier place to live in, because everybody, for the most part, wants the same thing. You know, we're just trying to help other veterans. And if you can take your ego aside and say, hey, I'll do whatever it takes, and you actually mean it, holy cow, the way that we could just help people is amazing. So I interviewed here and I didn't even get the job.
That's Steven's fault.
I didn't work here yet.
He wasn't here. So then I interviewed again like a year later, and I finally was like, guys, just give me an internship or something. Like, just give me minimum wage. Just let me get my foot in the door. And they did. They let me come in kind of like under an internship. And I started, when I say ground level, I worked in a closet. I worked in a walk-in closet. I had a shredder with a piece of plywood on top of it for a desk. And I was happy as can be. And I had an employee of one. I had to be accountable for myself. So that was pretty easy. And it's grown into, I was very fortunate to help be the architect and build where we're at now with our education and our training. There's a lot of other people who have put a lot of help and things into this. So I'm not by any means saying I'm the architect, but I'm one of the people that really kind of helped sit down and blueprint how this is going to work. And it's been, when I say I put the suck in successful, I still change things every single month. Every month we're evolving. Because if we are just complacent and we're happy with what we're doing, then we're not doing enough. If we're not uncomfortable, then, you know, there's a problem. Once you get comfortable, you're not looking to do anything more. So my goal is to keep us as uncomfortably comfortable as possible. Try and control what we can control at some point, and then just be prepared to make a change. You know, just random changes. Like, I'll say, hey guys, you know, we're supposed to start at 8:30 tomorrow. We're going to start at 7, and just see what they do. You know,
yeah.
I think that's really it.
I want to add something. Mike and I are like obviously like brothers from like another mother, because 94 got stuck with stop loss. I also worked for the Art Institutes at one point here in Pittsburgh. I worked for the online division. I actually built a military program for the online division while I was there, because I went to school when I was in Bragg, North Carolina, which is, you're in North Carolina also. Yeah, I built a whole military program to offer the benefits that you would get on active duty when you were stationed somewhere. For people that don't know, when you're in the military, they'll give you all the grants, but they'll also give you the extra grants, to where it's like, for each class, I think I paid like $10. You know, and that was because it was like the discounted part of the book I bought from them or something, you know? So like, and so I built a program with EDMC, which was OHE, which owned the Art Institutes and all. Yes. So yeah, so Mike and I are obviously related somehow. And he's got a good beard. So, I mean, just want to point that out.
so that's awesome. So, one thing that just over the past couple of years doing this with you guys, K9 Warriors and ConnectWise and ITNation Gives, is the realization it not only helps a veteran, but it also helps a dog, a service dog that would otherwise be put down. So, Mike, can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with your service dog, what it's like when you first paired, and how's that bond evolved over time? Because I think that's something that's missed a little bit. It's a lot about veteran, but it's the dogs is the big one.
So on the operations side, when you're putting in an application, we ask you a lot of questions. And it's almost like you're applying for a college. We're trying to find out your background. We're trying to figure out what your strengths, your weaknesses are. We're trying to figure out what your goals are in life. We're trying to figure out all these things because we're trying to gather enough data to almost put together an algorithm for a dating site. So when we're pairing our dog, we're taking our service dog, who the trainer knows very well. We're taking the information that you've given us, and then we sit down in a room together and we start playing Married at First Sight. It is absolutely just like the TV show. We're like, who's a good match, personality-wise, life-wise, what their goals are these things going to line up? How I got paired with Garrett, I went to our training director, April, and I said, listen, I want you to treat me like every other warrior here. I want you to read my file, and I want you to pair me just like you would anybody else. I trust you, and I trust the process, and it's a hypocritical thing for me to do anything other than that. So she gave me this black lab, and for the first week, I was like, why in the world did you give me this dog? She is a hot freaking mess. And I questioned everything. And it honestly made my life worse for the first couple of weeks. Just being 100% honest. It's not something you integrate easy because it's life changing. It's like having a kid. It took us probably about 90 days for her and I to really click. And it's so funny because her personality and my personality are so much alike that it's different in a lot of ways. They did such a good job pairing me with her. I, like most of you, all animals love me. I grew up on a farm. Animals love me. Like, I can go to somebody's house, their dogs are all over me, cats are all over me. It's like I'm running around with a T-bone in my pocket, you know? And when I met her, she wanted nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing to do with me. She would let me pet her and give her a treat, but she'd go lay down in the little corner. And I got so aggravated that, like, this dog, we're not bonding. But what made this whole pairing special for me was I have to work for her love. It's like a relationship. It's not easy. And if they would have given me a dog that was easy, I wouldn't appreciate it. It's not like a bad Bob Marley song. You know, if she's worth it, she's not easy. If she's easy, she's not worth it. And that's what it's all about. And once I realized that I was going to have to work harder on our relationship than I thought I was, and I had to commit myself to this 100% and put 2 feet in or take 1 foot out, that's why the pairing happened in that way. I laugh at her till this day because I see her, we still work together every day, and my dog will do something crazy, you know, and I'll look at her and say, thanks, April, for screwing this up, you know, and she knows that I'm laughing or whatever. But the pairing process, we're not 100% on anything. Like any dating show or Married at First Sight, I would say that we get it right about 80% of the time. And for 2 living, breathing things, for an 80% ratio to happen, goodness gracious, I think that's pretty daggum phenomenal. So we're better than Match.com, you know, which is not really something to compare ourselves to, but I'm okay with that statistic.
I love it. I know you do doing well with it.
That relationship throughout the years, and just make sure we're giving you the tools to be successful in that relationship. We provide basically the relationship counseling, what you need to work on, what the dog needs to work on, and we hold you both accountable.
I could use that. We'll talk. Yeah. We'll talk off camera about that. I could totally use that.
It's incredible how fast. Like right now, we're already 50 minutes, and this just I'm so immersed in this. This time is flying by. It's really made an impact in just hearing all these different stories and everything. But in closing, kind of, if you could speak to other veterans who might be going through, a tough time right now, what would you say to them? How would you, how do they feel, Canine for Warriors can help, them the rest of their life, lifeline? How do they get in touch?
Yeah, I will just simply say, if you're out there and you don't necessarily have the tools you need to be successful right now, don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. If you've tried medication and it's not working, don't lose hope. If you've tried counseling and it's not working, don't lose hope. If you've lost a marriage or relationship because of the trauma and everything that you're trying to process, don't lose hope. There's other tools that you can use that can help. And that's the biggest thing. Don't give up on yourself. And you're not asking for help. The thing about us, and this is the best way I can close this whole segment out, is if you think that we give you a service dog and that's the answer, that's the worst thing that we could ever leave this. I mean, we don't just give you a service dog. I wrap my arms around you and you are my family. A service dog is 40% of it. 60% of it is the other things that we do. You're having a bad day, give me a call. We'll work it out together. If you're having life trauma, let me find resources for you. The biggest thing is somebody that's having a hard time, they don't know who to call. They're not going to put in the effort to make the call. If somebody's having a hard time, they can call me and I'll guide them in the direction. I was telling you when I left the military, people were telling you what to do and you just did it. That was your job. When I was at home, my parents would tell me what to do. And, sometimes the hardest problems you can't solve yourself because you're too close to them. So in going to other places and helping them solve what you're going through, that's what we're here to do. You're not in it alone. We are committed to you 100%. Once you're a part of the family, you're like the third cousin we don't talk to at Christmas. We might make fun of and point at every once in a while, but you're still part of the family. And it doesn't matter at that point. And when you left the military, you missed the brotherhood, the camaraderie. You missed that somebody having your back. And this is the first time since I've left the Marine Corps that I've been at an organization or anywhere, not just an organization, where I feel that I could go to any of my even employee friends and tell them exactly what's going on. They're not going to judge me. They're not going to berate me. I have their support. And I'm going to end on this. The reason it took me 5 years, I think, to get this dog and to be happy is because I wanted to prove to the people around me that I could be successful on my own. And I think that's what pride stops a lot of things. And because of my foolish pride, I cheated myself out of 5 years of happiness because of my foolish pride. So I would just say, hey, you don't have to be proud to be happy. Just take a step out of your comfort zone and be uncomfortable for a minute.
I love that. So, well, first, thanks, Mike. Mike should be like a motivational speaker everywhere.
Absolutely.
Like, seriously. Like, he's like, look, you suck, but let's add cess to it. Success. Here we go. Let me tell you about this. Like, dead serious. No, seriously, thanks, Mike. I really appreciate that. I know, right? So we got to wrap this up, unfortunately, because so you guys don't know, but Adam has OCD and anxiety around times. Like, so right now he's not saying anything right now, but he stopped talking because he's literally shaking. And I know he is because he's like, oh my God, we're over time. Like, he'll start getting like all wound up.
Overtime.
Okay, you see, now he's lying. Anyway, but that's okay because I like watch back to your point, Mike. You can't have progress without discomfort. So he's just really making progress right now. Steven, anything that we should know or we should prepare for? Any highlights or anything real quick, or any?
I want to just remind everybody, and I'm going to totally botch this. I'm looking at my email right now because I can't remember where we landed. But if you make a donation during the live streams, there's certain thank yous that we'll send out depending on Do you guys have to email what they were? Because I totally am now panicked and I can't find
No,
it.
so we'll just leave it at there are special awards being given if you guys donate as a result of these live streams. And then,
yes,
Stephen, you're absolutely right. We'll do a better job in the future of putting those out in the beginning.
Yeah.
So yes, K9s for Stephen. They were gracious enough to offer extra special gifts other than just you receiving a letter every month like I do for donating. Where you tell me
you love the letters. You love the letters.
I do love the letters. Actually, I do love the letters.
Good letter. Yeah.
So, and Stephen, you're coming to ITNation Connect, correct?
Yeah, so I'll be down there for both of the days. I'm not there for the middle day. So I'll be bringing some trainers, some dogs, some of our warriors, some of our puppies, and we are working on potentially an adoption event with a local shelter that is in Orlando. So we are working on that.
And who knows, I might even pop in.
Yeah, and I know, Sean, you begged for Mike last year, so I'm trying to get it on the calendar.
I did, and you know what? Stephen didn't do it because he was already trying to put a wedge between us. That's what he was doing.
So bitter. So bitter. Jealousy rears its ugly head.
Cigars, bourbon,
cigars
dogs,
and bourbon,
and
yes.
a warrior.
Yes.
Yeah. I will tell everybody on the call, if you donate over $500, you get a sleeve of K9s branded golf balls. And if you donate 1,000 or more, you get this super stellar brand new K9s for Warriors hat that just went on our website.
Nice.
It's
and if we do 25,000, we get Chandria. So anyway.
Yes, if they get please help them get Chandria. 25,000. Let's go.
Oh, that'd be pretty awesome.
Sean, I'll rename my dog.
Yeah, we'll have 2 Chandrias.
Oh boy, that's a good one. Well played. So thank you guys all for joining us live. Be sure and check out the links and donate, and I'll be sure and drop that in the comments after this live stream. Thank you, Mike, for sharing your story. Really awesome. Thank you, Stephen, for sharing us about the program and talking about that. And Sean, my bromance, it's always fun. Me and more. Fantastic. Always enjoy the live streams with you. Until actually we come live here, what, a couple days? Next week?
Yeah, it's a couple more days. Yeah. So, we're back on your channel on 10/24.
There you go. So see you guys next week. Appreciate it. Peace out. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks, all.
Takes a second for this thing to end.
Still just waiting. Just looking uncomfortable.
Yeah, just waiting. Yeah. Hi.